welcome to the Hilltop in beautiful Hesperia, Michigan. This course is brand new, just put in within the last 2 years. But it's very obvious the owner Dave has put in a ton of work out here, clearing brush, raking leaves, carving fairways. He's doing a lot and it's very obvious. I was out here filming with my buddy Zach and his brother Corey, and Zach is here doing voiceover with me now. Say hello, Zach.
How you guys doing? We really hope you liked our first course preview at Breakers. If you haven't seen that one, go check that out. We plan on doing more courses in the West Michigan area.
Hole 1. Getting it started a little easy for you. We've got a couple of pine trees here in the fairway, but they're small for now. We do have OB right and OB left separating a fairway, and the right side is lined up with that fence. But as long as you can clear those little pines in the middle of the fairway, you should slide right up in here fairly easy. There's really nothing obstructing a putt. Just get up here, get up and down for 2 or 3.
Hole 2 is 200 feet. Off the tee, you're trying to navigate between this double mando. If you miss the mando off the tee, you proceed to a drop zone right in between them. As you carry the fairway, it's slightly uphill with a down to the right finish. This section of the course is really wooded and really works on your angle control, as we'll see on the next couple holes.
Hole 3, 265 feet. This is an interesting hole. Like Zach just said, this is really something that you're going to have to work on your angle control. Backhand, a force over would be good. If you're right-handed, that is. Lefties can throw a forehand, something kind of forced over as well. But really, as long as you get to here, it should all filter down into the green as it is a downhill slope to the basket.
Hole 4 is 150 feet, one of the shortest on the course. Off the tee, you're trying to throw something dead straight, uphill. The danger here is really hitting an early tree and kicking left or right. If you can make it up the hill, you could find yourself a bit long and stymied behind a couple of the trees that are within circle 1.
Hole 5 is a hole where it's very obvious that the owner's been doing a lot of work out here with these clean fairways that don't have any sticks or leaves on them. I was out there just a couple of months ago and it looked nothing like this, so it's very obvious he's putting in the work. Right hand, backhand on this hole, it's really one of my favorites because anything that kind of gets through the first few trees should filter down into this little valley. And as long as you get here, it's basically a wide open putt as long as you don't end up pinched behind a tree. It does go down into a valley and then back uphill, so an uphill putt might be a little bit on the difficult side, but you shouldn't have any problems getting up and down for 3.
Hole 6 is 310 feet. This is one of my favorite holes on the course. It goes severely downhill for most of the fairway before going uphill onto a raised green. The danger here is obviously kicking something early and going left or right, so straight mid-range or a putter is what I prefer off the tee. Also, there is OB behind the basket, dividing the neighboring property, so ending short is probably your better play. And like I said, as you get right onto circle 1, you're going to be putting uphill to a basket with the potential for a rollaway.
Hole 7, 230 feet. The video here does not really let on how steep uphill this is, which will definitely give some difficulty to making sure you have the right line, especially because you're going to want to try to finish left if you can. If you can crest this hill, that's perfect. You kind of slope down into this little bit of a valley before finishing uphill. There is OB on the right side of the footage here, separating 2 fairways.
Hole 8 is 354 feet and one of the most treacherous on the course. The fairway is riddled with trees, and there's also some mandos keeping you on the right side. This helps delineate between hole 6. So a good shot here, you're just really trying to navigate through all these little trees and end up in the area that the drone's flying over right now. The green is also pretty well protected with some skinny trees, so making upshots and putts a little difficult. If you are able to get through here, you should be able to walk away with a 3. Otherwise, the 2 is going to be really difficult.
Hole 9, 185 feet. Right hand, backhand, you're going to have to navigate a fairly tight fairway off of the drive, off the tee pad. But as long as you can flex something towards the right, once you get out of the hallway, it's fairly wide open.
Hole 10 is 339 feet. Me being a lefty, I'm going to try and hold the right side where you can see that row of trees, just pushing something straight and finishing left as the hill does go downhill to the left. Otherwise, right hand, backhand flex shot will get you around this corner here. Ending up on the left of your screen now is some pines. You don't want to get caught up in there. It's going to make your angle tricky to get up to the green. As I mentioned, this is slightly downhill, with the potential of being OB in certain tournament forms because it runs into the next fairway.
Hole 10A, you got 278 feet. A newer layout out here as of just recently. The fairway used to go straight, but now we're looking at a dogleg kind of bending into the woods here on the left. You're definitely going to want to make sure to make this turn here. Otherwise, getting off into the off the sides of the fairway is really just not good.
Hole 10B is 149 feet. There are 2 main gaps you could take on this one, to the left or to the right. To the left is the easier play for a lefty. It throws spike hyzer. The right has a low ceiling and can be a little dicey if you're trying to throw that, even though it is more direct. And if it isn't obvious by now, this course is 24 holes, and this is the only one on the property that has a raised basket. There's OB deep and to the right of the pin.
Hole 10C, 257 feet. This is a tricky hole. It's downhill most of the way, not extremely downhill, but it is. But the low ceiling with the pines on left and right actually make it a fairly tricky hole. A lot of work was done to make it so if you do end up just a little off the fairway, it's not totally jail, but you do want to try to get down towards the basket if you can.
Hole 10D, 534 feet. This is by far the furthest hole on the course, and one where you can rack up a lot of strokes. Off the tee, you need to go uphill slightly, dodging some of the little trees in the fairway. As you continue, you're really just trying to stay on the fairway the whole way. To the left is super jail, to the right, medium-sized jail. There's a little bit of an open section kind of in the middle of the fairway, but then it gets tight as you enter the green. And again, this pin is slightly uphill. Not much in the way.
Hole 11, we've got 349 feet. The aerial preview just now showed that we do have kind of a well-established fairway with OB long, separating hole 10D on the left. Could be an OB line depending on your format. On the right side, there's no OB to speak of that I'm aware of. Obviously, check your local format and tournament rules. But you really don't want to end up in these pine trees on the right, although there is some slight lanes to get through there if you do end up in there. It's a tough hole. If you throw it too straight, you're going to end up OB. I don't know. Attack this one the best you can. Good luck.
Hole 11A. This is another downhill shot with a left finish. There is going to be OB in between 11A and 11B as their fairways are parallel to each other. The basket you see in frame is not the one you're going to. It's down and to the left. And depending on the format, there also might be OB on the right side, helping to delineate between hole 8 and this hole. Again, this finishes down and to the left, and there are a few thin guardian trees protecting your entrance into the basket.
Hole 11B, 228 feet. This is a really tough tee shot in my opinion. It's uphill through a tight tunnel, and you also have to try to bend it to the right. Right hand, backhand, that's a tough shot, at least for me. I think lefties probably have it a little bit easier. You're going to want to watch on the left side of the fairway here. There's going to be an OB line, like Zach just mentioned, separating the two fairways. But if you can kind of get into that area, you're going to have an uphill putt to finish.
Hole 12 is 339 feet. This is one where you can actually just let one rip. The danger here is hitting one of the early trees or ending up in the bushes on the right. And on the left side, there's a row of very small pines that also acknowledge out of bounds. Other than that, it's pretty wide open, so you can really just put a pump on something and just try and get it around some of the bushes protecting the basket. The green is slightly uphill, but one of the flatter ones on the course.
Hole 13. This is a pretty straight shot, finishing to the right at the end. We do have OB on the right side. You can kind of see the flags there. And you really don't want to end up over there anyways, so OB is probably a good call. There's some thorns and stuff in there. You're really just going to want to pump something out straight, probably a mid-range or a straight fairway driver if you've got that. Bending it to the right just a little bit and kind of ending up in this area. There are some trees that are fairly close to the basket, so if you end up long, you might have to pull some tricks, putt through branches or over something.
Hole 14 is 259 feet, and one of the trickier shots for me being a lefty. Here, I'm going to take a very stable disc and try and do a flex shot around this. Otherwise, the right hand, backhand might just throw something hard and straight with a good finish. The trees on the right are pretty tall, so it's hard to get up and over them. And then on the left, there's just so many of them, it's hard to sneak through. So you want to try and play to the open airspace and just shape a shot around everything in your way. Again, this basket is a little bit uphill, but the rollaway potential here is pretty low.
Hole 15, 210 feet, and it is right there in front of you. There's nothing in the way except for some trees that are within 5 to 10 feet of the basket. Sorry. Just throw it out there. Honestly, get something close. But if you are trying to be strategic about it, if you can get just past the basket on this right side, it is a little more open, as you can kind of see here.
Hole 16 is 200 feet. This is another tricky one, as there is a dogleg right and a tunnel of trees that you're trying to find your way through. Me being a lefty, I'm just throwing a spike hyzer up and over and just trying to crash in toward the basket. Right hand, backhand, or forehand is just trying to keep it low and try and skip into this tunnel here. It's not very long, but just the shape of this hole makes it difficult. Getting within circle one, you're pretty wide open putt. If you do end up deep or to the left, you might have to contend with some trees during your putt.
Hole 17, 159 feet. Don't overthink this one. It is uphill. The basket's right there. A lot of people are thinking, oh man, this is an ace shot. But if you throw it too hard, you might end up in the left or in the right, or maybe too high. Really, the obvious play is throw it hard, go for the ace. But the smart play is burn something into the hill, maybe somewhere around here, and let the momentum carry it up the hill for an easy two-putt. There's definitely ace shots on this hole. They do happen, but play smart. You don't get a big number on this one.
And hole 18, 227 feet. This one plays significantly downhill and is quite a tricky shot. You're going to want to throw something low and probably a low speed, just so you don't push too far along, because you will go OB into hole 1's fairway. There is obviously danger on the right and the left with the trees, so you're really trying to keep it straight and have it just slightly bend to the right around this tree that we're approaching now. Like I said, this one's really touchy because it is so far downhill and the angle that you need is so specific. But you're hoping really just to skip up toward the basket here, which is guarded by just walls of pines. So if you find yourself to the right or deep, you're going to have a low feeling knee putt to end your round.
I want to give a huge thanks to Dave and the entire Hilltop crew for letting us come out here and film and putting in all of the work. Also, a huge thanks to Sweet Spot Disc Golf for making it possible for us to get out there. And a huge thanks to disc golfers like you. Make sure you say hi to Dave and pay this course a visit. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.